Most dog trainers think that the lead is gone if they don't book right away, but that is usually not true. Hi, I'm Lianne Shinton from Automation Dogs, and I've got Bret Geller, my business partner and boyfriend, joining me here. So let's chat about that, Bret.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're 100% right. Just because you don't make initial contact right away with that lead doesn't mean it's gone. You do have to follow up. What does that follow up nurture look like, Leanne?
Well, there's a lot to unpack there. I just want to share a statistic off the top of my head, and I'm always checking statistics. So 80% of leads will convert after the sixth to eighth follow up. 80% of people will book after 6 to 8 times you've checked in with them. So let that sink in. I read on Facebook group recently, it was Adam's group, the dog trainer marketing group. And I think I had asked a question. We were talking about leads on there, and someone had responded with, I kind of thought that if someone didn't book with me after like one follow-up, that they weren't a good client. And that was really powerful to me. I shared the statistic of, hey, people need 6 to 8 follow-ups. And that person was like, thank you for sharing because I didn't realize that. I was under the impression that, like, hey, they were ghosting me. They're not going to do the homework. They're not going to follow through with the dog training part. And I definitely wouldn't assume that. I would assume that they're in chaos. They have a job, they have a spouse, they may have kids, and now they have this dog, and this dog is driving them crazy. So they are in chaos. So we need to follow up with them in order to continue to stay in front of them until they have a second to hopefully have a quick conversation or get booked with you.
No, that's a great point. And I've actually had some jobs outside of the dog training industry, and one of them was in car sales. I was a car salesman just for a short period of time. And when a lead would come in, I only had 3 minutes to respond as a salesman, or I would lose it. And our follow up, yes, in the car industry, it's a little different because we're all selling the same product. So that speed to lead is really important, usually the first one to make contact. But I literally would send 3 phone calls the first day, 2 emails, 2 texts. And it was almost about that same pace for the first 3 days. And then we would lighten up after that. But I've had clients like, I feel like I'm hounding them, and they would finally pick up the phone 2 weeks later and then come into the dealership and I have a car sales. It's because I didn't give up. Now, as a dog trainer, do we want to be that heavy on our follow up? No, we don't. But we do need to have a pretty good follow up to chase that lead down. We can definitely help you with that follow up, but is there any pointers you can give dog trainers, Leanne, on how to start that follow up?
Yeah, well, there's a lot to unpack there. First off, I'll just share on the follow up that I study follow up. I study Harvard, Conversionly, statistics are my jam. So I study that, we really want to hit them fairly hard within the first 5 to 6 days. After that, we want to back off a little bit, but we still want to continue to stay in front of them for months. I have had people convert after 6 months of just checking in with them, sending them tips like a newsletter, but just staying in front of them so that they choose me. But those first 5 to 6 days, there's just the best times to reach out. And I didn't just figure this out on my own. I'm borrowing from like Harvard studies. So if I tell you, hey, on day 2, you need to send a text at 9:30 a.m. On day 3, you send a text at 5:30 p.m. Now, that's just talking about text messaging in this short conversation, just to give you an idea. If you sent that text just when you had a moment, you finished cleaning a kennel, you got the dog's potty, okay, I'm going to shoot this text back, and it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon. you literally might be just wasting your time. Because if you had a known to send that text on day 3 at 5:30 PM because someone taught you that, then that would be, the better move, and you're literally just almost, like, wasting your time. You may have well just walked another dog at that time instead of sending that text at that time. So I do study that stuff, and then in our job, providing automation for dog trainers to save them time, we just build that all in so that it's on brand for you, and then the system does all the follow-up. But I have a question for you, Brett. Um,
Yes.
you said something that was very powerful, and that was that 3 minutes, I think you said, where the lead came into the car dealership and you had to respond or you would lose the lead and it would go to another person on the floor. That was very powerful to me because I know we've talked about this before. Could you share a little bit about what that looks like? Because I it's amazing to me that there is an entire process and jobs specifically focused on those first 3 minutes and they're super analyzed.
Well, yeah, because sometimes, like, Auto Trader would send out a lead, and sometimes that goes to multiple dealerships. So that's why a lot of people know when they possibly clicked the wrong button on Auto Trader that their phone is getting blown up because it just went out to multiple dealerships. But yes, my sales manager's bonus was based on how quickly the salesman responded to the leads. And if I didn't respond within 3 minutes, man, he was texting me or blowing up my phone. Hey, you're going to lose this. This is a good one. It's going to go to the next salesman. And as you become more experienced as a salesman, obviously those little helps with the texts and phone calls go away. But yeah, it's all about speed in the car industry. If you're not first, you're last.
Yeah, and I know we're kind of talking about like two different things here. The long-term follow-up, um, but also because you touched on that, I just wanted to make sure folks really like leaned into that and how critical it is. Like someone's job is literally to make sure that people are responding within 3 minutes. Now, I do that inadvertently just because I'm a business owner and I'm like a crazy person. I have my phone and it buzzes when we have a lead come in and it buzzes on Brett's phone as well. And we just
Right.
know internally, like, okay, well, if Leanne's in an appointment, then Brett's going to call the lead. There's automation that fires as well, but we always want to lean into doing everything that we can to make sure that that person gets their questions answered and they trust us so that we can hopefully make the sale.
And dog trainers, you have to remember the client's the one with the problems. They're the ones reaching out to you who are the professional. So don't feel bad about following up with them. They asked for help. So you're not cold calling them. They've already asked for help. They're expecting you to reach out. So don't feel bad.
That's such a good point. And everybody nowadays, they know about being able to unsubscribe and opt out. They opted in, like Brad just said. Don't feel bad. They opted in. They can also opt out. So I just wanted to share a little bit about when I reach out to a business because I want to learn more. I will put in my phone number and my email. When I start receiving the messages, which is a lot of times right away, I will commonly opt out of the text messages because I prefer to have my information in my emails. That does not mean that I opted in by mistake or anything. I just that I'm controlling the way that I want to get that information. So don't feel bad if someone opts out of your text messaging. It doesn't mean that you can't call them or email them. That's what I'm waiting for if I reach out to a business. I'm hoping to get those emails and to get that phone call, but I keep my text messages, that's my safe space for emergencies. So I keep that area quite clear.
Now, that's a good point. And everyone has different preferred methods of communication. I'm old school. I prefer to get a phone call. And I expect, most of the time, if you can't answer the phone, for someone to make some form of contact, whether it's a missed call, text back. But you can't be afraid as a business owner to follow up with your leads. And if you feel like your business doesn't have the proper follow up nurture, we can definitely help you at Automation Dogs. You can schedule a free strategy session with Leanne at www.automationdogs.com. Thank you and have a good day.
Thank you.